September 11, 2001 is a tragic day for the American people. It was the day of the largest terrorist attack in American history. More than 3,000 people were killed in this attack and more than 25,000 people were injured. 4 planes were hijacked by 19 Al-Qaeda terrorists that day. 2 American Airlines and 2 United Airlines aircraft. 2 of these aircraft crashed into the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in the United States. The 3rd aircraft crashed into the Pentagon, which is the defense headquarters of the United States. Even though the 4th aircraft was aimed at the White House, it crashed into a field in Pennsylvania thanks to the brave actions of the passengers. Months later, Al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden claimed responsibility for this attack. 19 terrorists executed this attack. 15 of them were Saudi nationals and 2 were UAE nationals. One was from Lebanon and the other was from Egypt. All those who executed this attack were between 20 and 35 years old. The terrorists split into 4 groups and hijacked 4 aircraft. There were 5 people in 3 groups and 4 people in the 4th group. All of them came to America legally between 2000 and 2001. 3 of them received flight training at a flight school in Florida. 9/11 was an attack that showed the world that aircraft could be used as missiles. It was an attack that had been planned for years. There were no such powerful security systems in 2001. That's why terrorists were able to take box cutters, knives, and other weapons in their bags. Many terrorists who boarded the 4 aircraft also checked in their bags. Even though the security officers checked these bags again, they could not find anything suspicious. But when it came to the security checkpoint where the passengers were screened, they did not check in detail. 2 terrorists arrived very late at the check-in counter of United Airlines. Even though the counter was about to close, they had first-class tickets. That's why the check-in staff accepted them on this flight. There were several reasons why the terrorists chose to attack these 4 aircraft. The most significant reason was the element of surprise, as there had never been a similar attack before. So no one expects such an attack. These 2 aircraft, American Airlines and United Airlines, were emblematic of the United States' largest airline companies. The terrorists believed that hijacking these proud symbols of American aviation and carrying out a terrorist attack on US soil would deliver a devastating blow to the national pride of the United States. In addition, 3 of these aircraft were transcontinental flights, meaning non-stop flights connecting coastal airports on opposite ends of the country. Because they were non-stop flights, they always carried more fuel. With no intermediate stops, they were fully refueled before departure. The terrorists needed a massive explosion to destroy their targets. To achieve this, they chose planes with larger fuel capacities. As planned, this resulted in maximum impact, causing extensive damage and casualties. This strategic choice of targeting these aircraft was another reason for the attacks. Another reason was the type of aircraft. Boeing 767 and Boeing 757 were the 2 types of aircraft that United Airlines and American Airlines were using at that time. A pilot trained to fly a 767 aircraft could also fly a 757 aircraft because they have the same cockpit functions. This commonality in cockpit design was another reason the terrorists chose to target these specific aircraft. In addition, the 767 is a wide-body, long-range aircraft that can carry more fuel. That was another reason. 2 767 aircraft were chosen to destroy the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center because the terrorists knew they needed a large amount of fuel to cause such massive destruction. That's why they chose aircraft that carried the most fuel to destroy those towers. Another reason was the low passenger load on these aircraft. Despite having a higher seating capacity, the number of passengers traveling at that time was very low. When hijacking a fully loaded flight and attempting an attack, passengers may resist, potentially causing the hijackers to fail in their plans. To minimize this risk, the terrorists chose these 4 aircraft specifically because of their low passenger loads. Additionally, the terrorists researched and determined that Tuesday and Wednesday flights tended to have fewer passengers. This reduced the likelihood of encountering resistance during the hijacking. Furthermore, The choice of domestic aircraft was deliberate. International flights typically undergo more rigorous documentation and security checks. In contrast, domestic flights had fewer checks at the time, making it easier for the terrorists to conceal their weapons on board. The terrorists all purchased tickets in business class and first class, resulting in more passengers in economy class. This made it more challenging for them to mount a swift attack, as there would likely be more resistance from passengers in economy class. Additionally, the distance to the cockpit from economy class is greater, making it harder to reach quickly. For these reasons, the 19 terrorists specifically booked seats in business class and first class. Furthermore, they had extensively researched the flight's routine, having travelled on the same route multiple times in the months leading up to the attack. This allowed them to anticipate when seatbelt signs would be turned off, when cabin crew would be serving, and when they would have an opportunity to launch their attack. Their meticulous planning culminated in the execution of the attack. Additionally, casualties and damage were significant factors. Passenger aircraft typically carry a large number of people, ensuring high immediate casualties. Moreover, crashing into densely populated buildings in a major city would result in further loss of life and structural damage. Media coverage was also a crucial consideration. Crashing passenger planes into significant landmarks guaranteed extensive media coverage, spreading the terrorists' message globally and creating widespread fear and panic. Ease of access was another key factor. Passenger aircraft are accessible to relatively inexperienced individuals. Compared to military aircraft or other targets, hijacking commercial planes may have seemed more feasible to the terrorists.